name is Monte Garcia and I'm going to start my presentation. My presentation has two parts, and the first one is studying. Now, in studying, we have effective study habits. And in these effective study habits, we have some subgroups, like responsibility. In responsibility, we have to take in account how we are going to study and how we are going to put our time in with our other things to do. Now, another thing we have are the principles and the values. These principles and values are the ones we have to take in account so that we are fit and we are ready to say we are going to study, and we don't need others to be involved in our decisions. Another, we have prioritizing periods. During prioritizing periods, we have to recognize in what times we are going to study, when we are going to fit that into our schedule, and what times of the day are exactly right for the studying periods. Now we have a win-win. Win-win is a form of saying, I have to do this and I can do it. It's kind of like the choo-choo train. I think I can until you can do it. Then we have understanding others. Most of the time, people who are around us when we are studying don't seem to understand why we are going furthermore, why we are studying more about the subject, even though we don't have to. So we have to understand when somebody really wants to help or they do not. Then we have better solutions. Better solutions requires us to look for other forms of study. We can go to a teacher, we can go to textbooks, or we can go online, or other solutions that we can find that are better for our study. Then we have continuous challenges. Continuous challenges are a form of where we can keep on studying and we can keep on making better and better win situations. We also have concentration. In concentration, we have to focus on the subject we are studying so that when there is a little bit of distraction, we do not pay attention to it and we keep on studying and focus on our goal. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the study systems. In the study systems, we have a system that is called Aspire. Now, Aspire is a system that is divided, and here we have the letter A, where we see approach, attitude, and arrange, where we have to approach our studying with a positive attitude, and we have to arrange all of our studying material so that we can have a very good moment. In the S, we have select, survey, and study. Why? Because we must select all of the textbooks, the resources that we are going to use to study, and we have to survey all of the information that we have there so that we can have a positive study moment. Put aside and piece together. We have to learn to put aside all of those things that we do not need, and we have to learn to put aside sometimes the books and the notes. Why? So that we can piece together all of this information, but in a way that we understand and not the way the textbooks or the information tells us. Under the I, we have inspect, investigate, and inquire. In inspect, we must inspect all of that information and investigate it thoroughly so that we know it is the right one and we are going towards the positive side and not the bad side. And we have to inquire amongst teachers, other students, and so on. Under the R, we have reconsider, reflect, and rely. Reconsider is where we have to start looking back at the information, looking back at what we have understood, and we have to reflect on that with the other information. And we have to learn to rely on others and other textbooks. On the E, we have evaluate, examine, and explore. Why? Because we must evaluate what we are learning and examine it thoroughly. That way we can learn to explore a little more things. Now, another system for studying are the index cards. The index cards are simple cards that we can find at a stationery store. Now, on these cards, what we do is we have to put our own idea of a concept. So on one side, on the back side, we have to put the definition, but what we understand of the definition. And on the front side, we have to put what we call the subject. Now, we shuffle the cards, and we have to pick one question first, and that question or subject is the one we must answer, and then we just repeat. Another similar one to this are the flashcards, except the flashcards have cues, and they have the exact definition for us to really understand. We also have sources. Sources can be what we have mentioned before, which are textbooks, teachers, online, original copies, or copies of books, copies that teachers give. Now, we have classroom participation. This is another subject. In classroom participation, we have to take into account what really counts, which is preparation before and during class, so that we are focusing on what we need to do. Prepping and paying attention refers to avoiding distractions and really asking questions, getting ready for the study and for what comes in the class. A class discussion. In the class discussion, we have to prepare questions. We have to see that the teacher is really seeing that we are paying attention and that we are interested in the class. In notes, we have to record everything that we can or that we think is necessary, reduce it down to what we understand, recite it, go over it, and reflect it, which would be reflecting it in our everyday life. What is it going to help me? And review, which we can do in other classes. Then we have the guided notes. These guided notes are notes that teachers give us. They already have a structure, so they only have spaces there so that we can fill them in during, after, or for an evaluation. Influencing teachers in classroom participation is just telling the teacher, demonstrating to the teacher that we are interested in the class and that we are ready to work. Now, in a consent form is just another form, kind of like a guided note that a teacher gives us. But this consent form is for interviewing for a class project. And in this class project, we have to have our preparation, our interview, the introduction, the order, and the conclusion. And then at the end follows